YouTube, how's everybody doing today? Welcome back to our second cast of the day. It is none other than supposedly VNTT from Kingdom 272 going up against Rn1. Now here's the deal. When I look at these matchups, I'm looking for a matchup that has a relatively close power between each other. And there are, as of right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 other divisions with at least one match at this time going on, starting up in about a couple of minutes. Should be in a minute or so that this starts up. And so this is not 100% sure that we're going to end up in this cast. In the previous cast, we saw a little bit of a situation happen where, am I wrong in the time? Is there a thing where I'm wrong in the time? Really? I don't think so. But there could be. It was a 9. It'll take a moment, maybe 2, to open up. Hello? No, I'm not wrong. There we go. Bam. And so, hopefully this is the matchup we land at the end of the stream. But if this goes crazy, we're going to go find a substitution midway through if this becomes very one-sided. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we are up against VNTT. Oh, that's a typo by me. That's my apology right there. That's definitely a typo by me. Oh, God. Oh, God. VNTT, and I did the same on the thumbnail, but I'll take care of that later. Anyway, we are looking at VNTT going up against none other than Rn1. Now, these guys are porting in, still taking their time to port in. It takes a little bit. It's been a little laggy. So we'll hope that everybody shows up. In the meantime, we're seeing 1 tier 5 on Rn's side, 2 tier 5s on Rn's side, 3 tier 5s on Rn1's side, 1 potential tier 5 right there. We're going to need to zoom in and out quite a bit until we can see more people. It's just an unfortunate bug. You can see that people are coming in and out of display. It's kind of weird. I don't know, but hey, we're working with what we got. This guy's another tier 5 right there. And so this is looking like it's going to be potentially a good battle if everybody shows up. I don't see yet everybody on the battlefield. It is laggy. It is crazy annoying. And yeah, I can understand why some people are taking their time. 1 tier 5 on this side as the leader of the alliance. And from there, a lot of 30 million power players, which are on their way to tier 5. Another tier 5, 3 tier 5s. A potential right there. This looks like a very even matchup in terms of the amounts of tier 5s on the battlefield. The real question is whether the 30 will show up or not. Oh, you're going with VNN from good old Lords Mobile, is that it? Chat, if you guys have never seen an Ark of Osiris before, if this is your first time in the cast, first of all, welcome. Ark of Osiris is a mode in Rise of Kingdoms that is not about killing, but about winning by gaining points per minute. What you do is occupy 2 levels of buildings. You have the first stage of buildings, which instantly open up as soon as the battle begins, which are the obelisks and the outposts. And then you have the second stage, which are the altars and shrines. As of right now, you'll see that in a moment, everybody's about to pounce out towards the obelisks. Those buildings are the most important buildings early on, as they contain teleports, which allow people to get out from the initial zone right here, all the way to port in here, which will save them this march back and forth. And so right now, when we zoom in, we're going to see a few rallies already on their way towards obelisks. We have 1 rally by the red team towards their own obelisk, another rally towards an enemy obelisk. This is a very common thing early game to see happen. And you see right here, blue team rallying both their obelisks, trying to get there early on. And so here is where we stand. Right now, everybody is pouring out. Everybody's pouring out their marches, trying to get that first occupation. Usually what we see in the beginning are cavalries, as people really want to make it into buildings before the obelisks are occupied so they can teleport as quickly as possible. You are not allowed to teleport as long as you have troops on the battlefield, but if they are inside buildings, you are allowed to teleport. And so all these cavalry early on are pretty much the way people make sure that they can teleport once teleports are available. Rally is to get as many troops to the field. Yes, people tend to do rallies for two things. Either they try to get their troops out there as quickly as possible, or they are actually rallying the actual obelisk. That does happen quite a bit. We've seen a few rallies on obelisks early on very successful, as well as we've seen obelisks being rallied and fail miserably, which then can cause a serious setback. And so we're about to find out which of the two are going to happen here, as VNTT are already marching towards their obelisk. The rally is already on its way. It'll be out in 2 minutes, and this rally is a full cavalry rally. It's meant to get there as quickly as possible, although it seems like it's not necessarily carrying a speed commander right there. Yeah, Cao Cao is in here. Cool. So there is a mobility commander. He's trying to make his way as quickly as possible to the obelisk. In the meantime, we have one rally marching and the other one waiting. Now, as I explained earlier, this game mode is all about points per minute. We're looking at 26 against 24 as of right now. And when we're talking about points per minute, reaching buildings first is huge. As you can see, blue team already picked up their 2 outposts, while the first red march makes it into both an outpost and the obelisk. Once you're in a building, there is a 3-minute cooldown in which you need to hold on to the building in order for it to be officially locked for your team and start ticking for points per minute. Each building has a different amount of points per minute that it's valued, and the most important buildings to keep your eyes on to win the game are the altars, who are worth 150 points per minute each and are more than half of the points on the map. Each building on top of that has a first occupation bonus. If you lock it in your favor, and occupy it first, you will get a first occupation one-time bonus. And so now the race is to get all those first buildings taken care of, which they are, and to start marching forward towards the second set of buildings, which still have a lockdown until the until the beginning of minute 52. Once we hit minute 52, everything opens up and all hell breaks loose. And you can see marches are already making their way forward. Red team a bit behind when it comes to the marches towards the altars and shrines, while the blue team is already setting up some marches to quickly occupy their own Sky Altar, Shrine of War, Desert Altar, and Shrine of Life. Red team a little bit behind on these things, not sending their marches forward, potentially because they're waiting to teleport or one of these things. But anyway, regardless, you should always have marches going forward and getting ready. And so we have a rally marching in here and making its way into the obelisk. The rally broke up right here, and you can see some of the marches marching backwards. The idea was to have marches inside the obelisk to defend it. And now the question is, who is going where? So VNN are on their way to their own obelisk. Everything is as it's supposed to be. And we're really going to start seeing a little bit more points being earned in a few moments once buildings start locking up and the new buildings open up. You can see that the blue team has a little bit of an advantage. Both these buildings are going to lock in their favor and start ticking for points earlier than the red team. And that'll give them a slight advantage early on. You can see an 80 point, in the moment, a 160 point advantage plus 30 points per minute, which means for every 2 seconds, we're going to see another point added to the blue team. And now at a point per minute, things are a bit laggy. Things are going a little crazy, so we're not seeing the update happen as it should. Buildings open up, and as you see, blue team instantly picking up everything they need to pick up. Shrine of War and 2 altars in the favor of the blue team. And the red team have yet to pick up their own altars. First Desert Altar occupied, and now occupying their Sky Altar as well. There's a guy standing here who did not occupy. There we go. Now he occupied the Sky Altar. Perfect. So the map is just as it's supposed to be. That means that the map is currently divided evenly by both teams. You guys can't see that. It's divided evenly by both teams, and now it's time to see who will start aggressing first, who will defend better, and who will hold on to their buildings till the end of the cooldown period and pick up the first occupations. Rallies are already being set. Blue team set onto the Shrine of War of the red team. And the red team with 2 rallies, one of them marching towards an enemy obelisk, while the other one is marching towards the enemy altar. Now, a march towards an enemy obelisk, after the obelisk already opened up, is a very risky play. The reason for that is that this rally right now is marching for another 2 minutes. This gives, and it has sieges on top of that, which makes this rally even slower. Terrible, terrible, terrible business. This gives the blue team plenty of time to teleport, to send enough reinforcements into their obelisk to be able to take the rally. And essentially, if this rally doesn't break halfway through, it makes its way all the way to the end, it'll actually be probably stopped, as there are plenty of of troops and plenty of time to defend this. Now, you could rally the rally. These guys could rally the rally and get a rally out before that rally even makes it into the obelisk. And there are a bunch of other things that can get done. You can see the red team really going ham. Everybody going really hard on the rallies. This is what you need to be doing. This mode is all about points per minute. And so what you really want to do is you want to occupy buildings as quickly as possible. You can see that right now the blue team has a very slight lead. And they're even escorting this rally. They're escorting this rally into its destination to be able to defend it. These guys are online, and yet they're still continuing to march with their sieges and with their mixed troops all the way to the obelisk, even though the other team is really, really aware of this. The reason it says 5 minutes here, 5 hours here, it's 5 hours till my Ark of Osiris. The timer is 49 minutes as of right now. Ignore the 4 in front of it. Ignore the 4 in front of it. It was 10 earlier today. This timer is about the time your Ark of Osiris is and not the time on the Ark itself. And so this rally is creeping its way slowly and steadily. While that's being done, the blue team is securing first occupation on all their buildings. It looks like the red team is about to do the same, and we'll see a 590 against 590 point per minute game. And both teams will end up around the 3,000 points, but the blue team with a little bit of an extra advantage. A little bit of an extra advantage in order to, secure their lead, and they will stay in the lead as long as the points per minute game stays like that. A mixed set of troops is the reason. Look at this. This is exactly what we're talking about. This rally took so long to get here that there are too many solo marches in here ready to take care of it. Now, of course, it is doing some work because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 marches are more busy with this rally than with taking buildings out, which could be an advantage for the red team who are trying to take buildings now. But the blue team are doing the same. The blue team are out there ready to pick up a sky altar, a first rally hitting on a building right there. We're looking at VNTT really doing a lot of work in order to secure this sky altar. A lot of marches moving forward. It is very, very tough to hold on to these buildings if you don't have the right amount of people. We're looking at 29 against 28 right now. No teleports available. Everybody doing their job as of right now. And it seems like the first big advantage is going to go to whoever picks up the first arc, which is relatively rare. Usually the first arc is not as important. Buildings blinking everywhere. We're looking at this rally getting reinforced and an Alexander on the battlefield. There's another rally marching its way somewhere else. We're going to go take a look at that in a moment. Reinforcements coming into the sky altar are going to make it very tough to pick up the sky altar. While this is going down, the desert altar is being rallied as well, and this rally looks to be a bit more successful, even though it's getting chunked by solo marches around it. There are marches that can come help it out, reinforce it, and get the desert altar. While that's happening, the red team is rallying the sky altar by the blue team, and blue team has less presence in here than the red team did on their own. Big mistake right there. He made his way in right there, reinforcing the sky altar. Rally getting chunked down. Hopefully this can get held by the blue team. It looks like it could. It's doing more damage than it's taking to the rally, and so as of right now, it looks like it's probably going to be successful. But if not, the blue team are going to have a real big problem right here. But the blue team don't care. The blue team are going ham. The blue team are fighting for the desert altar that belongs to the red team and almost taking it out. Fighting for the sky altar that belongs to the red team and will probably take it out due to the massive amount presence on the battlefield right here. This is where these guys need to start hitting hitting together before these reinforcements make it in. I'm not entirely sure what's still left in the Sky Altar, but it seems like there are reinforcements coming in. And so the time to get rid of the Sky Altar is now, or else it'll be too late. Blue team taking the Desert Altar away from the red team and starting to gain an advantage. 150-point lead for the blue team right now in the points per minute game. Red team are no suckers, though. They went for the Desert Altar, and they are going to get it in return. So we're going to see an exchange of altars. Oh, this matchup is going to be good. We picked a good one, chat. We picked a good one this time. Back and forth are the buildings going, except that right now the red team have actually a massive lead because they are able to slowly chunk down the Sky Altar, and 2 more marches are coming in. If they can take away one of the blue team's Sky Altar right here, it'll get them actually a little bit of a lead, which they currently have. And now the Ark of Osiris is about to appear on the battlefield. Blue team are very much in control of this Ark of Osiris. It'll be good for them to pick up the Ark and gain a small advantage, which will give them time to start rallying things more and picking up more buildings. But at the same time, if they lose 3 altars, and all 3 altars will be occupied by the red team, and they can start gaining the points per minute lead, this could be crucial. You can see blue team taking away an altar back. Taking away an altar back, dropping the points per minute back into their favor. And now they're going to actually close this very little lead that the red team has. And with the Ark of Osiris, they're going to even increase further the Ark gains itself. We could not bet. When can we bet on Osiris on alliances? I'm assuming that after this first round, when everybody will have coins. It looks like you're awake this time. Open field battle triggers you in early Ark. It triggers me too, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. Red team are really keen on taking the Sky Altar back, but the blue team are holding really well against these solo marches. In the meantime, there is a rally making its way to the Shrine of Life, and as it stands, it looks like the blue team is a little bit in the lead. The blue team is a little bit in the lead. They're the only ones who have an altar that's ticking for points. The other 3 altars are under cooldown for both teams. While that is happening, blue team are trying and might be successful taking out the Shrine of War. It looks like the rally will be held by the red team. And while all this is going on, another rally on the obelisk that belongs to the blue team. But this time, this rally might be successful. There are 5 people in here right now and 2 teleports available. This is when someone needs to teleport in here. There we go. And as I say it, this is when someone needs to teleport in here and help secure this obelisk out. AoE did just that. A little bit of troops coming in to just keep holding, and AoE making his way. This altar seems to be very well secured. Shrine of War is indeed held by the red team. Blue team are currently trying to pick up the Shrine of Life away from the red team, and it seems like they're going to be a little bit more successful at it. They're doing more damage than they're taking. And while that is happening, there was a threat on the Desert Altar, which is about to lock in for the red team. The points per minute game is in favor of the blue team, 300 points per minute more. And the blue team's Ark Carrier seems to be going to the Shrine of War. And he will, in a moment, gain another 3,000 point lead for his team. Now the blue team is starting to lose a little bit of focus. Solo marches against a well-defended Desert Altar means a lot of damage and a lot of carnage. These are marches that are going to potentially have to march all the way back home. And this is the same individual who's going to end up staying without troops later on. He does have tier 5s. He is the tier 5 player. But still, if the Desert Altar is fully secured, even these 3 marches are going to have a very tough time going up against this Desert Altar. Red team are not going to let the Shrine of Life and this Sky Altar stay for the blue team. They're instantly re-rallying it. Fast rally by Ivy, taking the Sky Altar back. Oh my goodness. Blue need more rallies, correct. Blue are starting to go a little bit too much solo and too little rallies. We're seeing that the red team is doing what they need to be doing, rallying across the board, while the blue team is struggling to get these rallies. Blue team actually going for the obelisk, and this red team has to be able to hold on to this obelisk. So many people present in here, including a guy scouting the rally. And yet nobody is sending reinforcements into the obelisk. This obelisk has to hold on. If this obelisk is taken by the blue team, this is where things are going to get very interesting, because now everybody in here is going to have to work on securing back their obelisk rather than going forward. There's one more march making its way in here. Can it make it in time? It barely made it in time, and it held it long enough. Can more people make it in here? That's everything that needs to happen. I hope Ivy has a march in here. People need to get more troops into this obelisk. Chunking down the rally is fun, but if the obelisk falls, now you're going to have to re-get it and then wait for the 3-minute cooldown. Big trouble brewing for the red team if they let this obelisk fall in the favor of the blue team. They have to reinforce the building. You only solo a rally once the building is secured. Yes, the rally in the building is going to be very weak, but the fact that they're about to take it out of the blue team, out of the red team, which they did, is such a bad situation right now, because they're not only going to have to solo the building out, but now they're going to have to wait another 3 minutes worth of cooldown, and they're going to have to spend quite a lot of time looking at that rather than paying attention to the more important buildings. The obelisk indeed went down. What an unfortunate slip by the red team. It looks like the red team, while they are rallying a lot, they are not paying attention to their buildings and to the most important things. Spamming rallies is very important, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you have marches coming in and out. Even if Ivy had a march inside the obelisk, she could have sent that march back and sent another one in, and from there, keep the obelisk in their favor for a little bit longer. That's right. That's how you play this game. You have to hold on to buildings for as long as possible, and the red team might be, there's a guy rallying Ivy, which is really interesting. Blue team rallying a city already. And while there are plenty of marches in here trying to secure this obelisk, Ivy freaked out a little bit, sending marches forward. These two guys are able to potentially make it and secure this obelisk even further. If Jack turns around like Beely did and it goes into this obelisk, look at how many marches are now being sucked back into attempting to recover this obelisk. That is exactly why an obelisk is rallied. But the thing is, an obelisk shouldn't be able to get to this point at late game. These guys just were not paying attention. They were all around the obelisk, and they had the ability to hold on to it. Holding on to an obelisk is crucial. Look at how many marches right now are making their way into trying to defend this obelisk. While this is going on, red team picked up the lead. Red team are actually ahead again. And now, with a little bit of luck, they're going to lock in both their altars and the Shrine of Life that they own, both of them. They'll have plenty of time to potentially heal. Blue team taking back their Shrine of Life, so no shrines, double shrines for the red team as of right now. But because they're holding on to one more altar right here and the Shrine of Life, and their altar is going to close down in its cooldown before the blue team, they will actually keep gaining points. They're about 60 points ahead in the point per minute game, and they'll be about 130 once this is all said and done. They're a bit behind, but in a moment they're going to take their altar back, and when that happens, their altar is going to start taking 130 points in the lead of the red team. And this is what the red team are supposed to be doing right now. The red team are supposed to be straight up following. They're supposed to be gaining points per minute and closing down this gap. The blue team picked up the Ark of Osiris, and that gave them a 3,000 point lead, a very comfortable lead, and they're a little bit like above, almost 4,000 points ahead. But the red team keeping the lead in terms of the points per minute game means that they will potentially be able to turn this around with the next arc. Ivy making her way into, I hope it's her, making his or her way into the Shrine of Life. Can he make it in time with these mixed troops against these infantries? There's a cavalry march in here getting chunked out of its mind. Hopefully they can secure the Shrine of Life. In the meantime, red team are taking some hits on the Sky Altar, which is very well secured. And so nothing to fear about there. The march did make its way into the Shrine of Life, and it gave a little bit more time for another march to make it in here. Unfortunately, these are full infantries, and so these cavalries are actually only going to be buffers. They're not going to be able to really do much against these infantries, and so they're going to need better marches to make their way into this Shrine of Life. While this is going on, a rally is going up against the Desert Altar. A red rally against the blue Desert Altar is going down, and this Desert Altar is taking a little bit more damage than the rally is. There are solo marches along the way, but blue team has presence. With the presence blue team has in here, they will be able to potentially secure this Desert Altar. They just can't let the altar fall. If the altar falls, that's 150 points per minute down. Even if they take it back, it'll take 3 minutes for this thing to work its way back to giving points. It's 2 a.m. in the United States. I only noticed it because I needed to go to use the restroom. What's up, the speaker? I know a lot of people are asleep right now, but hey, we're going to cast every single slot today. So you guys don't want to miss out on any of them. If you got to sleep, then you sleep. But there will be another rally waiting, another Ark of Osiris cast waiting for you when you wake up. That's right. We have 3 more casts today. 3 more matches. It's going to be very exciting. As of right now, the red team are still in the lead by about 80 points. That's one shrine still in their favor. That's once the shrine here closes out, we're pretty much back into even. And the red team they did close the gap by a little bit, but the blue team are still holding on to a fantastic lead. Bronny, I'm probably not going to cast JWM because the match is JWM with 2.6 billion power against 1.3. Boom King, I'll answer your question that's not Ark related after the stream, okay? It's after we're done casting. Let's try to keep focus on Osiris League as of right now, and I'll definitely answer your question at the end of the match, okay? I'm keeping my eye primarily on Ark questions and on the Ark itself right now. 150 points back in favor of the blue team as they picked up the Sky Altar right here. It seemed like the red team had it defended, but more and more solo hits went this way, and eventually the Sky Altar went down. Was it the Sky Altar or was it the Desert Altar? Which one of them fell down? Yeah, it was the Sky Altar. Yeah. I'm not crazy. It didn't have a timer. Now it does. There it is. So perfect. Sky Altar in the favor of the blue team. That's what is going to give them a little bit of a lead. That's what will give them a little bit of a lead. You've been waiting for the stream since the last one. David, you're the man at 4:30 a.m. All right, what we're looking at right now is 3 altars in favor of the blue team, and they're fighting for the Shrine of Life. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Ark of Osiris has appeared. And who owns the middle? None other than blue team themselves. If blue team pick up this Ark, this is a 7,000 point lead. And boy, oh boy, it's going to be a rough time for the red team to come back out of it. 33 minutes still remaining. Plenty of time to pick up more buildings and more points. But it seems like the red team are slowly crumbling and the blue team are slowly gaining more and more momentum. Yeah, DS, the marathon is on. 3 more casts on top of this one still coming today. And this is the second one after I woke up at 5:30 a.m. today. I went to bed at 2 and woke up at 5:30 a.m. That is right. To cast Ark of Osiris League. Osiris League, really. This is not Ark of Osiris League anymore. And to have all this wonderful content available for you guys. If you guys like the casts, make sure you slap a like on the stream. And of course, if you haven't subbed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button. And if you want to contribute even further to the channel, you can become a member just like Bronny is. And you'll gain a nice little GG next to your name and a few very cool custom emotes like these 3 right here, including you have a nice little Gekko and everything. Bam. Look at them. Come join the members team today. Hit the join below or click the link that's going to appear in a moment while Nightbot sends out the message. It's not available in all countries, unfortunately. So if you cannot do it, it's because it's not available in your country yet. Blue team are firmly in the lead. This Sky Altar is about to lock into their favor, and they are going to take a nice big lead ahead on the point per minute game. And my goodness, this is going to be rough. Why don't I stream on Twitch? Twitch is not a platform that's friendly to either mobile streamers or new streamers. You really have to spend a lot of time till you build a Twitch channel. Any interesting casts today? This is one that is an interesting one. It's been going on for about 30 minutes, and it was fairly close for a while. And we have 3 more 3 more still to go. I haven't yet decided which 3 I'm going to cast. If you guys have any tips, you guys see any cool casts you guys think are going to be interesting, you're welcome to hit me up on Discord. Let me know which district and which match you think is going to be interesting. I still need to look at the next few matches and see which one we're casting next. VNTT are trying to hold on to the Shrine of War. Red team finally reacting. Red team sending sieges in marches, which is really killing me. This is making things so much harder for them, as their marches are so much slower, and these sieges, quite frankly, are not doing as much of a war job as they should be. Yes, they're taking the Shrine of War back, which is fantastic, because now they'll have double the buffs, and they'll debuff a little bit the blue team out of 5% troop attack and troop defense. But still, some big matches would be awesome. The problem with the big matches is that they're all very skewed. All the big guys are going up against very weak alliances compared to them, and it's going to be a blowout. UCS went all the way into the enemy's safe zone. The big alliances are going to be more interesting once we hit playoffs. Red has full hospitals, it seems. It does seem indeed that they're slowly and steadily losing marches on the battlefield. We're finally at 30 versus 30. 3 ports available for the blue team against 1 for the red team. The nice thing here is that the red team indeed own 2 Shrines of Wars, but in exchange, they lost their Shrine of Life. And so, if their hospitals are actually full, like DS suggested, losing the 25% healing speed is massive for them, and they really need to be able to get this Shrine of Life back. They're trying to solo hit the Shrine of Life. It looks like it is very well secured, but there are more marches along the way coming in here. Blue march right here, trying to solo hit out here, while its secondary march will probably make its way into the Shrine of Life. Blue team 330 points per minute ahead of the red team, and they delivered the second arc of Osiris. They are taking control slowly and steadily of the middle. Red team completely ignoring the middle, going for a lot of battles on the open field, while the blue team securing the Osiris temple. It looks like this is slowly and steadily making its way towards a blue win. We can't call it yet. There is still time for a comeback to happen. There are only 9,000 point difference between the 2 teams. The red team really needs to step up the point per minute game and start gaining rather than losing, and pick up another arc, 1 arc, and that will be everything they need to make the comeback happen. But unfortunately, I'm seeing too many solo hits and too little rallies, and the rallies that they are setting are rallies that have sieges in them. This is a full infantry rally, which I do like. No sieges. They're marching slower, but they're not siege marched. And so the Shrine of Life is going to see a serious problem. The big thing for the red team is that they are slipping on the points per minute buildings. The altars should be your number 1 priorities, as they give 150 points. And if you guys didn't know this, the map has a total of 1,180 points on the map. And so by holding on to 4 altars, you actually have 600 points per minute, which is more than half. You like my writing? It's more than half of the total points. So you really want to hold on to altars more than anything else, and that's where the blue team is excelling. They're holding on to 3 altars, and they're doing it for as long as possible. Bad idea to solo hitting buildings hurts. It does, and it's unnecessary, especially when you own the obelisk that is very close to the building you're hitting, and you can set some rallies in here. There are plenty of people in here able to set a rally and send reinforcements into that rally, but it seems like the red team are too far out there. It overlapped with the writing. I didn't notice that. Sorry about that. I need to take off the camera, I think. But what I said was essentially there are 1,100. I'll write it again. There are 1,180 points on the map, and there more than half. No, there's more than half are the altars right here. You like my writing, my drawings? Yeah, I like to draw on the map. It's kind of cool. So holding on to altars, holding on to 3 altars, that's actually more than 1/3 of the points on the map. Plus everything else along the way. And that's how 300 points are in favor of the blue team. Is it good to spend 60K on a KS? I'm going to answer a few questions after the cast, okay, my man? I'm focusing on Arc of Osiris right now. I'll answer your question, and King Boom's question, as a Boom King's question as well. I haven't forgotten about you either. How does occupational points work? Just troops in the shrine, you'll have the points. Correct. So you have two types of occupation points. You have individual occupation points and alliance score. If as an individual you're within the building, you're gaining the points. So as long as you have marches, let's say with one march or even one troop inside the desert altar, you'll gain 15 points per minute. The big points don't come from occupation. They come from the individual points, come from holding a building while it's getting rallied. As you can see right here, it's taking a massive damage, but it's also dealing damage. And this is how the blue guys in here are making their individual honor points. There's individual points. The blue team are in the lead by about 350 points. But if this altar falls right now in favor of the red team, it'll chop down the lead of the blue team by 150 points, which is fantastic. Shrine of Life being contested with solo marches yet again. There is a rally in here, but I don't know what this rally is hitting because it's way out there. It seems like it's hitting a solo march. Is that a thing? I'm confused. I'm very confused. I'm assuming the rally is going up in here, and there's a Charles Martel holding strong against these cavalries. Oh boy, this is not good for the red team. Thankfully for the red team, they did pick up this desert altar. And with that being said, they dropped down the point per minute gain of the blue team to 200 points per minute, which is crucial. This is when they have to stop the bleeding. Every single minute that the blue team has and by the way, thank you to Nick for subscribing 8 minutes ago. I apologize, I missed that. And also Matan from Israel, who subscribed earlier this morning. I didn't pay attention to that. I was too focused on the cast. When this building clocks out in the favor of the red team, they'll gain another 150 points, and now they're going to lock it down to 50 points difference. And that means that an Ark of Osiris can help them win this match. Unfortunately for them, they're starting to run out of time. 23 minutes remaining. There is still time to catch up. If they pick up an Ark of Osiris now, it's 44,000 points. And 6,000 points worth of a gain. Look at that. Red team are so focused in here. They're so focused in here that this is actually not necessarily the worst thing that's happening. Look at the red team trying to come back into this. Shrine of Life going in the favor of the red team. And the second Shrine of Life going down in here as well. This is one of the best plays the red team could have made. People underestimate the value of an outpost. But right now, they dropped another 30 points per minute for the red team, for the blue team, which is fantastic. It's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to slow down the growth. And right now, the blue team only has 90 points ahead of the red team. In about a minute, the red team is going to start gaining. And with 23 minutes remaining, as long as they can keep maintaining these buildings and being a nuisance, this is how they can come back into this. Shrine of War successfully occupied by the blue team, back into their favor. And right now, in a few moments, this altar will lock down in favor of the red team, and Shrine of Life will lock down into the team as well. Is it going to last 4 hours? No, this is the timer until when my arc is. The timer on this arc is 22 minutes. Ignore anything that's after the minutes. Shrine of Life being contested by the red team with solo marches yet again. They own the middle. We know that already. They have very big presence in the middle. But now they really have to step up and pick up another altar. If they manage to pick up a third altar away from the blue team, boy, oh boy, this is going to be rough for the blue team. A rally with sieges is making its way towards the sky altar. And there's a march leaving the sky altar. There's a potential here for the red team to actually come back into this. There's potential for the red team to come back into this. This is the time for the red team to not fall asleep. Hello, pick up the arc. Phantom, hello. You had one job. Picking up the altar, the Ark of Osiris on this side is a terrible idea. Now the arc is going to come falling this way, and he's going to have to march his way around, giving more time for the blue team to make their way forward. Instead of capturing it on this side and marching forward, saving a little bit of march time in here, blue team are starting to make their way into the Ark of Osiris itself. Altar being contested by the blue team. Red team seems to be able to hold on to this quite well, and they will hold on. And as of right now, only 20 points ahead for the blue team, but one altar, one shrine, and one outpost are still missing for the red team. Outpost being taken back. Rally about to win the Sky Altar. The Sky Altar is being contested, taking massive damage with Alohar holding onto the building. Boy, oh boy, blue team. You guys are falling asleep. And there is still time and potential for this to come back in favor of the red team, as the blue team only has 20 points per minute ahead. And so this is not a significant thing right here. These marches are going to have to march way faster than this to hold on to the Sky Altar. It looks like this potential march will make it if it pays attention. It's not paying attention. It's not paying attention. If the Sky Altar falls, it's going to be trouble for the blue team. Red team taking a lead, 60 points ahead, but they cannot hold on to their Desert Altar. This is crucial. They have to hold on to this Desert Altar. And they focus so many troops in the center that this Desert Altar is going to be a huge downfall for them, even though they will pick up the Sky Altar back in return. And so the lead will stay in their favor, but it's not enough. They need more. And the blue team take out the Desert Altar away from the red team. Red team are about to attempt to take the Sky Altar away from the blue team. A little bit of sieges made their way in here, but it's not going to be significant. Ark of Osiris still marching in the favor of the red team. Way too many marches in here right now and way too little focused on holding and defending buildings. In a moment, Sky Altar will fall from the blue team in favor of the red team, but it doesn't seem like there are that many march troops remaining to hold onto the Sky Altar, so this is going to be crucial. This march being a nuisance, still picking up outposts left and right, trying to stop the bleeding. 60 points ahead for the blue team right now. And in a moment, it'll swap back in favor of the red team once they take this Sky Altar away from the blue team. But the blue team are marching closer and closer. Another cavalry march are making their way into the Sky Altar. This is so bad. The red team was gaining momentum. It was almost there. This Shrine of Life is being contested. Oh my goodness. What is going on this map? Red team marching their way with the Ark of Osiris. 4,000 points are going to be gained in the favor of the red team. But they are losing buildings left and right. This rally is still going to be, it seems like it's still going to be successful. One more march on its way in here. And a rally onto their own obelisk to make things worse, to split their attention. This rally right here is not as significant. There are plenty of marches and people around here able to defend it. But now the red team are running out of time and they need more buildings. 60-point lead for the blue team is going to go out in a moment. And another successful occupation right there by the blue team means a little more points per minute, 90 points per minute. Oh my goodness. This is going to get close. This rally, the big thing about this rally are the sieges. As you can see, there are still sieges alive in this rally. They did two wrong things in here, these sieges. First of all, they're not inflicting as much damage as they should. This is not a regular building. You're not going up against freaking garrison. And secondly, they slowed down this rally. Because this rally wasn't fast enough, marches were able to make it and secure the Sky Altar. Because of a few sieges that slowed down this rally, the Sky Altar might not be taken by the red team anymore because it took them too long to get there, too long to destroy it because they're not inflicting as much damage. And right now, the blue team making its way into the Sky Altar. And for a moment there, I had hope for the red team. But unfortunately, it seems like they keep making the same mistake over and over. And yes, they picked up the Ark of Osiris, which is fantastic. It's fantastic. They closed the gap to about 7,000 points, but they're still losing the point per minute game by 120 points. And so it still won't matter. They secured just in time. They did. Those sieges were literally the reason red team won't be able to make this comeback. Those sieges right there slowed down the rally towards the building. They didn't inflict as much damage onto the marches in the building. And on top of that, they allowed other people to make their way faster and faster into this altar by simply being into that altar, the Sky Altar, by simply being too slow and too weak. And look at what's left. And look at what's left, ladies and gentlemen. Rn1 falling. 3 people were in here, and 4 people, and they almost had it. Very, very, very bad mistake sending mixed troops. And even if they send mixed troops, sending sieges. When you send sieges into a rally, it's pretty much over. That rally is done for. You're actually wasting space in the rally with troops that are useless. The only time I can condone sending sieges in Ark of Osiris is by sending them to defend a building. And the whole point of defending the building is to, to just have it stay alive for a little bit longer to let more people in. There's 16 minutes remaining in the arc. I really need, you know what, chat? I'm legitimately gonna do this right now, mid-cast, which I'm not a fan of, but we have to get this done. Let me go ahead and right here, let me see. I need like a square image. Let's see. Color source. Cool. Whatever. Perfect. Now you. Go dark. Cool. You get very small. Bam. There we go. There we go. There it is. We moved it a little bit. And now nobody can see the hours anymore. Because, oh my goodness, people are asking, like everybody asked this today. I don't blame you. I was very confused on the first cast we did. And so we're going to keep that black dot right there for a little longer. Just until they fix the bug. Because every person almost asked this. Time Traveler? Kind of. VNTT are about to lose this matchup. Unfortunately, with 14 minutes remaining and the blue team very much in control of the map, the red team seems to have lost its momentum. They had the ability to potentially come back, but it just did not work out at this point in time. It did not work out at this point in time. Red team are still waiting for another 80 points per minute from the Shrine of Life. And they are contesting for an altar right here. And this rally is having a hard time against this altar. It's doing and inflicting pretty much the same amount of damage, except that it's also getting chunked out. Some marches are coming in to potentially reinforce this or to hit the solo march. And so if these guys cannot reinforce Rn1's rally, oh, this is going to be trouble. This is going to be trouble. Good job covering that. My OCD was going off the chart. You're welcome. I'm going to leave that there for the rest of the casts today, or else my OCD will go out of control. We're seeing the rally taking a beating right now, and it's starting to take more damage than it's inflicting, which means this desert altar will probably be held by the blue team. And I can probably tell you, as of right now, with 3 minutes on the Ark of Osiris remaining, 4,500 points on this arc, and the blue team are solely in control. I believe we can pretty much call this GG. I think we can call this GG, but there are a couple of things I do want to point out. First of all, there are plenty of people still left behind and 4 teleports available. This should never happen. And as I say that, 1 person leaves. Of course. All of these guys who have marches out on the open field can send them into any of their buildings and march and port forward. Ivy actually got sent back, or ported back. I guess she got sent back, or he got sent back. And now's the time to port forward again. All of these people out there just chilling and waiting it out while not utilizing the port is very bad. It's very, very bad. The blue team I can say the same about them. They are in the lead. But they still have plenty of people in here that can utilize these 5 ports and port forward and be more helpful and useful in general. Desert altar still being contested, but this rally is not going to make it. 3 altars still very much in the favor of the blue team. And even though the red team did pick up the Shrine of War to get a little bit of extra attack and defense, it's just not going to be enough. Damn, Lancelot with full siege is OP. You saw that? I wasn't going to say anything. Ivy making his or her way back in here just like we predicted. And The problem is it's a little bit too little too late. Jeremy had so many marches out on the field that he is burning. A rally hit him and he burned. And so in a moment, he should be ported back. Boy, oh boy, the blue team are really, really in control in here. And even though the red team does have more attack, more defense, and have a fair amount of healing, the blue team is playing the game, is playing the points per minute game, and own 3 buildings with more than 1/3 of the points on the map. And now with the Osiris Temple about to open up, red team are pushing hard in here. Red team are pushing hard in here. What they want to do is potentially close this match, making it a little bit even. But it is indeed, like Michael Jackson says, GG on this match. Unfortunately for the red team, it was not enough this time, but there was a lot of potential. I think this is a very good VOD for you guys to have available later on. Right after this cast, I'm going to release earlier today's VOD, which is also a very interesting one to keep an eye on. But these guys, this is a fantastic way to learn Osiris League and learn how Ark of Osiris works and see where the small mistakes, the very little mistakes that are being made by the red team are crucial. The sieges and rallies, the lack of paying attention to the crucial buildings, which are the altars, and so forth and so on. Just put the fire out, no TP back then. You could put out the fire, I guess. You could put out the fire. I'm assuming that's what he did. Nope, he got ported back. He got ported back. Unfortunately for him. Some people don't know how to put the fire out. Yep. He got ported back. And now the crazy open field combat for the Ark is here, but it doesn't matter. With 9 minutes left, it's over. Our match IR is in 4 hours, and it's a close matchup. What's in 4 hours? I think that's doable. I need to figure out who I had someone locked in for that time, I think, but we're gonna take a look at that after. I'm gonna take a look at. I haven't finalized the schedule yet. There are two alliances that I did promise to cast. One of them might be at the same time as IR, and the other one is the last slot. And so the other one is going to be a big alliance that we haven't seen on Ark of Osiris yet, which is why, even though it might be a blowout, it'll be good for us to be able to introduce these guys. They are the latest and biggest top 32. Well, they're the latest top 32 kingdom. It's one of the youngest kingdoms out there. Kingdom 1337. We're going to get to see them on an Ark of Osiris for the first time today. And hopefully we'll be able to cast IR as well. Brawny, if not this time around, for sure next time around. I need to cast more Kingdom 59s. We need to get a little bit of Kingdom 59 pride in here. IR, and we have BNW as well, I think, that signed up as well, that we really need to keep an eye on and see what time their arcs are. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to look at the schedule. The way the schedule looks, it's really weird. All right, so now that we said GG, let's go ahead and get those GGs out in the chat. GG for Rn1 and VNTT for a fantastic fight. GG's for both alliances. Congratulations to VNTT for holding on to. Rn1 have plenty to go back and learn from. And now let's go back up and answer a few of the questions that folks asked. KS asked, "You missed yesterday's stream. Is it worth spending 60K on the?" Yes. I mean, it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you're looking for solo rewards, individual rewards, the AP in pre-KVK is nice, but unfortunately, remember that you'll have a lot of wasted scrolls because you'll end up having one scroll missing and like 40 of all the others. So keep that in mind when you're spending your AP. It's not bad to spend your AP that way. And then the other question we had, let me go take a look. Boom King, where are you? I don't know if he's still in here. I'm scrolling. Where is Boom King? Is my YSG, if my YSG sticks to 1111, then which talent tree would be good to level up? if you're gonna you shouldn't stick your YSG to 1111. If you're using a YSG at 1111, you shouldn't be using him. You really want him to be a 5111 first, 5111, and then you want to potentially get him even to 5511 before he's actually very, very, very OP. Anything at 1111, you can't do much with him. He's not that strong, and so you set a talent tree on him. I do not recommend setting any talents on a 1111 YSG. Just leave them be until you level them up some more and then figure out what you do with them. Or else what'll happen is you're gonna have to reset those talents, which will suck, and you don't want to do that. And so at a 1111 YSG, don't level up his talents at all. Use an expertise epic, correct. Having an expertise epic will be better for you. That was 1-1 too much, I know, right? I went back and corrected that, I think. And so with this matchup wrapping up, 5 minutes remaining in the match, what are the things that we learned out of this? First of all, picking up a first Ark of Osiris. Excuse me. Wow, that came out of nowhere. Picking up a first Ark of Osiris is not necessarily the most important thing. Holding on to altars is the #1 priority. With the blue team solely holding on to 3 altars the whole match, most of the match. Even though the red team did pick up 2 of them at some point and even had 3 of them for a little while, the focus was never where it should be. Once you hold on to 3 altars, you have to hold on. You cannot have an altar that gets chunked out of its mind because there are only 2 marches in it. You cannot leave the altar to go help something else. While you're not at the forefront and while you're not leading, you cannot be doing what this guy did, which is leave an altar for something else. The red team seemed to have left altars left and right and did not reinforce them back in time. Your YSG is 5511. Your YSG is in a great shape to be used instead of an epic expertise at this point at a 5511. That's where you really want him to be. 5511 is usually where an expertise epic loses its advantage against a legendary commander. So we know that these guys didn't hold the buildings well enough. The second thing they didn't do is they didn't send the correct troops into rallies. And they sent the worst possible troops into rallies. Sieges. Sieges are the worst possible thing you can do in Ark of Osiris. The main 2 reasons, which are crucial, it slows down the rally, which means longer march time, which means more time for the other team to reinforce the building and to keep gaining points out of that building. And secondly, once you hit the building, those sieges are not doing as much damage, and so they are taking space of actual marches, of actual troops that can do damage. You're not sieging a building. This is not a city where where your watchtower can get hit by your watchtower and wall are getting hit by sieges. This is a standard building with no defense whatsoever but the troops in it. And so sending sieges is pointless. You really want to be sending only troops, no sieges, and that's how the red team could have won this match. They had a chance. They had momentum for a moment. At some point, they held both these altars and almost picked up this one. But because of stupid sieges in this rally, they were not able to take this sky altar. And on top of that, because they weren't defending well, they lost this altar, and that's when everything went GG. Who's better for Charles secondary? Eulogy, Max Eulogy, or Richard 5211? So Richard is a little bit of an exception. The reason Richard is an exception is because his first skill is insane. He does insane amounts of healing, insane amounts of debuffs, and he's very, very good. So at a 5211, your Richard is actually better than a Max Eulogy. Richard only. Any other legendary commander does not work that way. Richard's heal is so massive on the first skill that he is very, very, very much worth the loss of strength you get out of your eulogy. Do you need to heal your troops before entering Ark of Osiris? Yes. You have full hospitals, then get healing, my man, or else you're not making it in. Or else you're not making it in. You gotta heal. You need to have clear hospitals and no marches on the field. I hope you at least one MG. Red team right now swarming the Shrine of Life. They're trying to gain their last individual points. This is very much over. 5-1-1-1 Cao Cao better than a Pelagius or no? No. Absolutely not. An expertise Pelagius is much more worth it. Especially because you go to 15% attack and defense rather than 10% attack and defense. And so it's very, very good to have an expertise Pelagius. The only legendary commander I can say a 5-1-1-1 is better than an expertise epic is Richard. That's it. You're VIP 10 and you're thinking to push to 12. You got 40k gems from reaching City Hall 25. Should you wait for more than gems and make the push? I know I need 2k gems for blueprints. Yeah, 40k gems is not enough to go from 10 to 12. Do you have enough gems to go from 10 to 12 and get blueprints and everything? The push is nice, but unless you have the gems to get all that done, it might be a bit tough. GG's Rn1 Ivy actually taking the crown with the individual points. Let's see if we get disconnected. No, this worked this time. Awesome. You can take a look at the post-game battle complete report. You can see clearly that the red team had a lot more kills and the blue team barely healed a little bit more. But again, the thing was here, buildings. When it came to occupation, the blue team occupied as much as they could. And they got a little bit of an extra bonus out of Ark of Osiris and provisions. But this is where the game ended, right there. Occupation score. And the way that happened is by straight up holding 3 altars at a time. And so GG to the folks right here. Campaign does not exist. It doesn't boot us out. Wow. How do I get out? Last time we had a quit. Now, oh, okay, cool. We got disconnected and reconnected and everything is good in the world. Okay, so who's better for Pelagius then? I'm quite confused. Who is better pair for Pelagius? Minamoto. And if you pair Cao Cao with Pelagius at the lead, maybe. But you can definitely set up your Pelagius with so many more commanders, expertised epics. You can set him up from a Belisarius to a Baybars. I prefer Baybars than Belisarius. You can also pair him up with straight up if he is leading, you can pair him up with a 5-1-1 Cao Cao, but it's better to pair him up with a Minamoto, with Belisarius, or with Baybars, even with Boudica. As Michael Jackson says, even Boudica is a fantastic pair for Pelagius. No need to restart the game. It disconnects, it connects. It's weird stuff. Anyway, chat, I hope you guys enjoyed this cast. 110 beautiful people in the chat. I hope you guys smash a like on the stream before you leave. You never catch me online when you're doing it at the end. What do you mean? I'm casting every single Ark of Osiris slot today. Yes, every single one of them. 3 more to come today. So come back to the next one. Hopefully we'll have a good matchup in the next one as well. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. It is lunchtime and I'm at work, technically. Shh, don't tell them that. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for being awesome, chilling with me in chat. Your feedback and comments are out there. Nice. When is it? I think it's in, 3 hours? Right, chat? When's the next slot? In 3 hours, correct? Andrew, thank you very much for the kindness, the kind words. Mr. X, thanks for being here. Michael Jackson, I think the next one is in 3 hours, if I'm not mistaken. The next slot is, it was 9. This is 9, and then there is a 1, so 4 hours. Well, 3 hours because the end of that. So in 3 hours, we'll be back with another arc, hopefully with a good matchup coming up. Thank you very much. Misty always comments when I start thanking people, so I can thank Misty as well. She's usually the lurker in the chat, but Misty does deserve a thank you as well for being here. Mr. X, Tiago, Michael Jackson, and David. And of course, Bronny and Michael are 2 members in the channel. Thank you very much for being members and being here every single cast. XPP Killer, thanks for being here, my man. Q something wrote in Vietnam, win, haha. Good for you guys. Awesome. Great job, my man. DS, thanks for being here. Devils, thank you for being here. Vixen is always in the chat as well. Shibby, and we have Shopno that I see in here, who is relatively new. I haven't seen him in the chat before. Maybe I did. And Lord Dinkelberg, Trojan. Who else we had here? Goldie, KS, Prarok, and many more. Squiggles was in here as well, aka Sue, Zortax, Xavier, and many more. Boom King, thank you guys for being awesome. See you guys. Ashura, thank you very much for being here, and Ivan as well. 1 p.m. UTC is our next cast. Which commander is good, El Cid or Martel? They're both very different commanders, and they're both commanders that you get from the packs, the daily packs. So you don't want to be spending too many commander sculptures on them unless you're not a spender. And even then, you should focus your commander sculptures on Richard, YSG, Khan, and all these guys you can't get from gold keys or from spending $6 a day. Chat, thanks for being here. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Take care. Peace.